The legendary entertainer Sir Bruce Forsyth has died at the age of 89. The star of Strictly died this afternoon at his home, surrounded by his family. He'd been unwell for some time.
Welcome to the Generation Game. Nice to see you.
From the Generation Game to Play Your Cards Right, he'd entertained millions of people on screen for more than 7 decades. His showbiz career began in 1939 at the age of just 11 when he appeared on a BBC talent show. The BBC's Director General, Tony Hall, has called him one of the greatest entertainers our country has ever known. We will be looking back at the life of Sir Bruce Forsyth. Also tonight, an investigation is underway into 17-year-old Musa Ukabir, who's suspected of carrying out yesterday's attack in Barcelona. His fate is still unclear.
We are live here in Barcelona with the very latest on the huge police operation. Overnight, there was a second attack in another coastal area when a car drove into a crowd. 1 woman died and 5 suspects were shot dead by police. The authorities today say both atrocities had been planned for some time. And Spain stops to remember the dead. 3 days of mourning have been declared.
You don't really understand what's happened for probably about a minute or two, and then when you see the people on the floor, then you realise what actually has happened.
Also on the programme, the Defence Secretary apologises to the mother of a soldier killed in Iraq 12 years ago when an explosion hit his lightly armoured Snatch Land Rover. And Alistair Cook makes a double century as England pile on the runs against the West Indies at Edgbaston.
And in sport, on BBC News, Liverpool have rejected a third offer from Barcelona for Philip Coutinho. It's understood the latest offer is in the region of £114 million.
Good evening and welcome to BBC News at 6. One of the biggest stars of British television, Sir Bruce Forsyth, has died this afternoon at the age of 89. His career has spanned more than 70 years and included Sunday Night at the London Palladium, Play Your Cards Right, The Generation Game, and more recently, Strictly Come Dancing. He retired from Strictly in 2014 after presenting the programme for more than 10 years. His former co-presenter Tess Daly said today that she was heartbroken to hear of his death and called him a friend, a gentleman and a true legend. Our correspondent David Siddesley looks back now on his life.
Live from London, this is Strictly Come Dancing. Please welcome your hosts, Bruce Forsyth.
When it comes to TV history, Bruce Forsyth was simply the face of Saturday night. Strictly Come Dancing, the last hurrah in a career that went back more than 70 years. The boy Bruce, the mighty atom, was just the beginning of a life of song, dance and comedy.
Business, that's exactly what he had. You know, the things he could call on. He could handle it, and when things went wrong, he could step in and put them right. And of course, those shows were live, and that's when he used to do his pop. Live.
You hear it now?
Sunday Night at the London Palladium in the 60s was his big break. Beat the Clock showed that he could make a game show must-watch TV and turn members of the public into primetime entertainment. And nowhere showcased that talent better than the Generation Game in the 70s.
There's another Phyllis here. All right then, jolly good.
I don't like being called Phyllis.
Oh, you
My
don't?
name's Phil with a Y.
Phil with a Y. All right, darling. Oh, a bit like that. There's another bundle of trouble. Right.
Nice to see you. Didn't he do well? The catchphrases became part of national life.
A sweet ball game. Here we are. The steam iron. We've got the steam iron. Didn't he do well? Way!
Among the tributes today, the Director General of the BBC, Lord Hall, said he was one of our greatest entertainers. He defined Saturday night. After that, Play Your Cards Right on ITV, another successful game show.
You gonna get on? Tony Blair insists that weapons of mass destruction will eventually be found in Iraq. Well, it would be nice to see them,
On Have I Got News for You, he reminded TV what a pro he was. If he had a regret, it was not making it in America, in films, and his main love as a song and dance man.
This could save the whole show. Just do as I do. Be like a generation game, all right? Now, left up with a thing, you got that right. Left.
But you know, quite prepared for the end. I mean, of course, he was such a remarkable and iconic figure, and none more remarkable and iconic in all of television history in this country. That's the kind of man we're talking about.
Sir Bruce Forsyth. He first appeared on the BBC in 1939. 70 years later, he was still... Sir Bruce Forsyth. Sir Bruce Forsyth first appeared on the BBC in 1939. 70 years later, he was still there, still the king of Saturday night.
You fly me to the moon.
Sir Bruce Forsyth, who has died today at the age of 89, and David Sillett, our arts correspondent, is with me now. A career of more than 70 years. He really will have his place in television history.
If you're 16 or if you're 96, you know Sir Bruce Forsyth. I think if you go back to 1958, the Palladium, Beat the Clock, his big break, and there he is showing it all. The fact that, well, he was a song and dance man. He could do comedy, he could play the piano, he could act. He had spent years from the 1940s and 1950s in every theatre in Britain, getting it wrong, getting it right. And he had that skill that he could bring in front of not just the TV audience, but also the audience of the London Palladium, and also, really crucially, members of the public. And that special bond of making them relaxed, making them the stars of the show, the slightly waspish wit, the cheek he could bring to it all. He knew how far he could push it and still have everyone on his side. And nothing was better than when it went wrong. Other people would have been terrified on live television in front of 19, 20 million people as you had on the Generation Game. But for him, he knew that was when the magic was. When suddenly they went crashing in with the crocodile into the paddling pool water and it all went everywhere. He was at his best. And there are very few people that TV people have over the years been able to turn to and said, you know, whatever we do, whatever we throw him into, it'll work. There are very few people who are the king of Saturday night, and that's Sir Bruce Forsyth.
Very true. David, thank you. The rest of the news now, and police in Spain.